Hello and welcome from Des Moines, Iowa. I thought I'd put together a little video on this 103-year-old popcorn maker that's been lovingly restored by myself. It's powered by a Coleman urn burner number 4, or pretty close to a number 4 urn burner. And it was made by the WMP company in Lowerville, Iowa for National Sales Distribution Company to come down here in Des Moines, which is where we live now. As we can see, it's made by WMP in Lowerville for Des Moines. The gauge on the tank also was made by WMP. So even though it is a Coleman power plant, WMP decided to put their gauge on it and make it their own. All right, so I've changed the, it's supposed to have a hollow wire tank type pump on it, but I've changed the cap to an HGP so that I can use a hand pump and I don't have to carry around a big hollow wire pump. So we're going to get some air in this tank. We're going to run it about 25 to 30 pounds of pressure. And let's get a little flame going. You can come on in here, my trusty helper Maria, and you can put the camera down here so people can see the burner. It's got a little fuel overflow thing. There we go. Runs a little bit hot. So we've got a flame going down there. Start getting the generator heated. I'll add a little bit more. The burner should catch here in just a second. There it goes. And you can really hear that sizzling as that raw fuel has got the air mixture with it and it's preheating the generator. This will take a couple minutes. It does put on a good little show. And then that flame will turn a silky blue. So we kept this thing pretty much all original. All of the metal parts down here, the wheels, everything was completely rusted out. So those are really the only things that we painted. The painted handle that's used to carry this folds down also. Was all completely rusted out, so we put some original black paint. Some of the paint that was showing through on this was black, so we kind of kept it back that way. It's got a nice little storage drawer here that's full of popcorn seeds at the moment, but I had to replace all the metal on that with new metal, as that was completely rusted through as well. And then we did replace the wood that was on here and put a little Danish oil finish on it. I tried to keep it as original as possible, but I didn't want to repaint all of this just because it's the original paint. It's 103 years old and I kind of like the way it looks. All right, so we're just about ready to turn blue here. And it's really going. Noisy sucker. Once it gets completely blue, it usually gets a little quieter. And there it goes. It's like turning on a switch. So we've got our flame up pretty high here to start the preheat, and I'll get her. I generally like to run the popper on pretty low heat because it really doesn't take a whole lot. Good thing about this particular Coleman urn burner is that the valve is nice and touchy. It really, a little bit of movement can make a lot of adjustment for you. So we can see here, it's sort of like a whirly pop. All the pieces inside of here had to be remade by Randy Hayes. They were completely rusted and completely shot. So he put a new pin in the hinge here, got all this cleaned up, and some extra bushings, and really is a master craftsman. This is really the sort of the key piece in order to be able to make this, because it does have a round bottom and it's kind of beveled here to sit in this flue. And you can see that here. All right. Get this crank it a little bit. Looks like we've got a few remnants in there of popcorn past. We'll get our oil. This is a secret family recipe, so I won't divulge how much measurement of what's going in here. It's not really a secret family recipe, it's just my secret recipe. Get our oil in there. I use a butter flavored oil. I get it from Sam's. It's about $10 for a gallon of it. And as much popcorn as I make out of this thing, it's a pretty good buy. It gives the kettle corn, and that's what we're making today is kettle corn. It gives the kettle corn a nice flavor. Butter flavor with the salt, and then the sugary sweet is a nice combination. We'll add our salt in there, kind of give that a little swirl and let that dissolve in the oil. And then we'll get our popcorn. This popcorn is actually Snappy brand. It's also made in Breda, Iowa. I just happened to come across this at the local Fairway for $1.99 a bag. I find the yellow popcorn tends to pop a little bit bigger than the white. Now this, where I found this popper, was over in Cherokee, Iowa. Tim Helmers, a good friend, turned me on to this, which is over by where Jolly Time makes popcorn. Jolly Time popcorn is made in Iowa as well, kind of over by Cherokee. So I like to use Jolly Time as well, but I couldn't find any yellow, and the white just doesn't pop as well. So it was kind of a happy accident finding this Snappy pop. Really pops up nicely. Oh. Ah, we're making a mess. That was smooth. All right, we are making a mess everywhere. All right, so now we have our wasted kernels there. Give everything a good turn. Put our oil away here. Got my handy dandy helper Maria on the camera. The things we do when we're bored at home from quarantine, from the virus. We shoot videos of making popcorn. I sent Terry Marsh a message about this, and in typical Terry fashion responds, "Yeah, I want pictures of it," but the funny response was, "Leave it up to Iowa to find another way to sell their #1 crop," which I got a good chuckle out of. He's not wrong. All right, so we're gonna get our sugar ready. Whenever this starts popping, we'll start adding our sugar. Oh, it looks like my cup popped off. I kind of don't like them on the tethered piece there. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So we'll just kind of continue to let this go until we start hearing some pops. And the trick is to not open this up if you can help it at all. I like this round bottom better than the typical whirly pop machines, as it has a flat bottom. And when you're making kettle corn with this sort of rounded bottom, it helps to keep the sugar from really burning on the bottom of it. So I kind of think this was probably made for kettle corn. That's my uneducated opinion, but that's what it is. I've made it on the flat bottom whirly pop on my AGM popcorn maker, and it works well, but you really have to give it a good clean because the sugar really caramelizes pretty quickly, and that's with even, continuing to stir it. And this video is probably going to be very, 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 very long, and will probably take a day or two to upload because of the sheer size.
It's only 9 minutes so far.
It's 9 minutes already?
Yeah.
Oh my god. So we'll see if we can maybe increase the popping here by upping our temperature. If you want to come down here, you can see you've got the control valve down here, and you can sort of see the flame through the flue hole there, and see if we can adjust it there a little bit. They've got these straps here that strap it. They screw to the wood pieces here to keep this from moving around while you're moving it. That's a pretty neat. It's a pretty simple in design cart. I'd love to find another burner of these and just make my own cart now that I kind of have a blueprint of how the design works, but getting this popper made would be the real hard part. Making the cart, I think, would be pretty easy. All right. can probably splice the pieces of this together, can't we? All right, so we've started to get some pops. We went ahead and added our sugar. I didn't show that part because once you add the sugar in here, it does take it a while to get back up to heat again. And it's basically just a video of me sitting here turning this thing, which nobody really wants to see. I've seen it. It's not pretty.
It smells good.
It does smell good. And it's starting to pop now, and it's going to start going nuts here. But you have to keep, once you add the sugar in there, it kind of turns, it mixes with the oil and melts and turns into that nice syrup. It's going to coat our popcorn, but you have to keep a constant stir on it, or else it'll just cook on the bottom and caramelize and get that nasty burnt sugar smell, and we definitely don't want that on our popcorn. Yeah, we're going pretty good here now. Should be just another 30-45 seconds here. This will probably be done. We'll be ready to dump into our basket. The basket over here is pretty cool because it's got grates in it which act as a sifter, so you can sort of shake your popcorn around, and anything that, any kernels that didn't get popped will fall through to the bottom. So basically what you're left with is just the good popcorn and none of the fuss or muss. Yep, we're cooking right along. You don't want to get your heat too high on this too, because you can end up cooking and burning your popcorn before everything is already done and complete. So it's kind of a trick to get it dialed in just right. Thankfully, this is like my 10th batch, so I think we've got a good system pretty much down here. And I think that's about the last of our. Still got to keep popping in there yet, but. All right, we're going to dump her down in here. Hey, it's almost all out. All right. All right, well, there you have it. Wonderful Iowa kettle corn cooked in a Peerless popcorn popper that's 103 years old. Thanks for watching, and happy popping.